the truth of the matter is that we can take these national assets, even look at our shareholding in NLNG, which is probably one of the most successful companies on the continent today, and we go to the London Stock Exchange, New York Stock Exchange, whatever, and list NLNG. And we can pledge a percentage of that value that has come out of NLNG and use it to shore up financing if we are going to get all that new money coming in into real productive assets, not to go and borrow to steal, as we have done in the last 8 years particularly. Then we can really jumpstart production. And when we then begin to jumpstart production, the question is, what are our factor endowments in which we have what structural economics today refers to as latent comparative advantage, on which we can build these value chains? I would go, one of my favorite examples, sesame seed. In the north central of Nigeria, they use it to make soup. I know they enjoy their soup. But we can grow it so much and process it and export it, target, say, all the McDonald's hamburger chains in 1 or 2 countries in Europe alone to supply the sesame seed on the bun. And that would be hundreds of thousands of new jobs in Nigeria and millions of dollars in exchange revenue. All the other parts of the value chain of sesame seed, the oil and all of that go. We can go to rubber, something that I argued when I was in industry. Again, people who don't have the, if you will, discipline of thinking come to this. The day I was hired to work for Volkswagen of Nigeria, I wrote a piece that appeared in this week, which is the predecessor of this day. And I said, look, if I had my chance, I would shut down Volkswagen of Nigeria. And people thought this guy is crazy. You've just been hired to work for this company. You say you will shut it down. And I said, yes. The only person who, well, not the only person, one person who got what I was trying to say was then Deputy Governor of the Central Bank. What's his name? And he called me and said, you make sense, but that kind of courage is not normal in this country. And my argument was, don't try and assemble cars in Nigeria at this time. We have no comparative advantage in it. What we should do is take a couple of components in the motor car, say like rubber, where we have serious comparative advantage, grow rubber across southern Nigeria as if it was the only thing, have a deal with Peugeot, with Volkswagen, with all these companies, Daimler-Benz, Daimler Chrysler, whatever they were at that time, and take 3-4 rubber components and become the primary supplier into their global supply chains. We will make 20 times more money than we're making from crude oil. We would have jobs of quality, and the terms of trade disadvantage we get with commodities, we will not deal with there. But Nigeria just refuses to sit down to do this hard work, the thinking. At least just want to quickly, gain short-term personal advantage and live beyond their means. So you take rubber there. You take other agricultural produce, because most of our comparative advantage today would be in agricultural produce, but even oil. You can take the hydrocarbons value chain and look at what you can do. Look at what has happened with Indorama. The petrochemicals were a mess. They sold to the Indians. Look what they've done with Indorama. We can take the hydrocarbons value chain. Now that we are in energy transition, that crude oil may become less and less a major revenue source, but hydrocarbons processed can still be a major source of revenues in the fertilizer business, and so on and so forth. So we can go through all of these and seriously apply ourselves, bring in hungry entrepreneurs. I don't mean fat cats. You know what we do when we do these things? We go and bring one fat cat who's looking for somewhere to extract rent. The way that General Park did with young engineers in South Korea back in those days. And say, you're an engineer in the marine business. How can we get you to become a major shipbuilder? Okay, if I'm going to be a major shipbuilder, then I need to get steel at this kind of price. Steel producers, what will it take for you to get steel at this kind of price? Then the banks must not charge us more than this kind of interest rate. And collectively, everybody work their way through how an industrial policy that will support that process will work. I'm saying that people like Jeju Chang at Cambridge may argue about bad Samaritans, but let's not get ourselves hooked in that. Let us look at, our ability to do just small industrial policy, not the big import substitution, ban this, ban that. No. Take those areas where we have this latent comparative advantage and add value on limited